To you. First, we have to ask you, what did you learn on your trip to Poland?
Well, the devastating consequences of war on the trip to Poland this weekend. Over 2 million refugees Poland has welcomed in with open arms. And there are families that have welcomed these women and kids who have been devastated and isolated out of Ukraine and have nowhere to go. And to see that kind of opportunity for that they went in and helped these families was just tremendous. And it's heartbreaking, really, to see that on the ground firsthand, to see the devastation, to see the effects of the crimes of war that Vladimir Putin has committed.
We understand that your delegation called on the U.S. to send more equipment. What exactly are you asking for?
Well, I think that as long as Ukraine can defend itself, it's up to the world to help provide arms and equipment for the people of Ukraine who've shown great courage under President Zelensky's leadership to defend their homeland. And, you know, I think that Vladimir Putin, when you look at history, thought that Ukraine would just roll over. When they invaded Georgia in 2008, Georgia held up for about 12 days. In Crimea, it was 30 days and some change. And so they were not expecting a more longer protracted war. And that's what you're seeing Ukraine put up a fight. And that's really, I think, got Vladimir Putin on his heels.
Would that help, that additional support, include a no-fly zone, in your opinion?
Well, I think it would be too difficult to do a no-fly zone right now. If we have a no-fly zone, that means there are hundreds of jets from NATO, the United States, and allied countries, and you're talking about shutting down, shooting down Russian planes, and that's World War III. That's nuclear war potentially with Putin, and that is not something anybody wants. And I don't believe there's an appetite for American troops going into another war and troops on the ground there. But what is, I know, because I've held many town halls over the last couple of weeks and talking to constituents, I know that the folks in South Carolina, they want to provide aid. They want to provide support in whatever way they can from a humanitarian perspective. And so that's where my focus is, really twofold: on the humanitarian side and letting people know how they can go about supporting the Ukrainians that now have no homes and are trying to find new places to resettle. And then at the same time, there are manufacturers here in the U.S. that are trying to expedite shipment of equipment to Ukraine. I'm going to be as supportive as I can of those manufacturers as well, and ensuring that we do what we can to provide equipment that Ukraine might need right now.
President Biden has already committed billions of dollars to Ukraine. He's heading to Poland this week. What do you hope he accomplishes?
Well, continuing to build support for our NATO allies, showing Poland that we support them, and anyone along the border of Ukraine, you know, who is an ally of NATO, that we're going to be there. And we've deployed additional troops since the start of this war in the last 3 weeks, but showing and expressing that partnership, that support for our NATO allies, I believe is going to be really important to the region. And that in turn, I believe, will support Ukraine, right? We're all working together, those nations, to help the millions who've been displaced, but also get Ukraine's military the equipment that they need as well. And that's something that all those nations are working on together.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.